Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Rita Egidio. Welcome to this Dream Warriors podcast. I am excited because I have a new guest, and I always like my guests to present themselves because no one do it better than you. Please, my love, tell us who you are, your name, and where you're from, and what you do.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Ryen de la Garza. I I'm a psychic medium. I specialize in shadow work and helping people get grounded and connected to their emotions. And that can translate into, your whole life, your business, things like that. So I help women. I would say predominantly women. I do have a couple male clients, but I help women really learn how to live in a way where they're reconnected to their humanity. I wrote a book a few years back called Embracing Our Humanity. And it was about my own journey as a single mom. I have 5 kids and I was working a corporate job. Do you see? Same. I was working a corporate job and I had 5 kids and 2 of them had health concerns. And I really, I had been so stressed out and not honoring myself or my emotions that I started grinding my teeth and I broke all my teeth off in my sleep. And my brain started malfunctioning and my spirit said, if you don't fix this, you're going to die. So I went on this journey of honoring my emotions and pulling back the layers of my trauma so that it wasn't puppeting my life. And then I was like, I want to help other people do that too. So when we honor our authentic self, then we kind of find our rhythm to our journey and we can create wealth through ease. If that's your goal, I think it should be everyone's goal, but to each their own. But more importantly, just releasing guilt and shame, understanding that those are man-made and those aren't actual emotions and releasing the trauma that created those.
So. What is shadow work?
Great question. So I always preface this with, this is what shadow work is for me, because obviously, we go into the historical side of, what shadow work started as. But what shadow work is for me is really over the years, all the parts of you that someone along the way made you feel embarrassed about, shame about, guilt about. And that can be anywhere from childhood trauma to you danced at school and got made fun of, to a teacher telling you you weren't good enough for something, to an uncle telling you something about what you were wearing on Thanksgiving. There's a vast thing, but what we end up doing, especially as women, is each time something like that happens, our broken ego takes that piece, puts it in a box, closes up the box and puts it on a shelf in our head. So by the time we get to 35, we're just a shell. We're like a robot because all these parts of us that were authentically ours, we packed up and tried to hide because guilt and shame convinced us that it wasn't okay to have. So shadow work is about pulling those boxes down, opening them up, peeking in, and accepting that they're a part of you. And that can look anywhere from getting comfortable with dancing in front of people to accepting that, something that traumatically happened to you has forever changed you, but it doesn't own you. And there's grief in it.
I love that because not so long ago, in the last couple of months, I just went through a mushroom trip, and on the end of the day after, it came a message very clear. I had very beautiful insights, but it came a message very clear to me. Then you are not your traumas, and you are not your emotions, and you are not your stories as well. So, and that was such a, sorry to interrupt you, but
No, you're fine.
realizing that is there, but that is not you. Looks like such a basic thing. But for me, it was very powerful.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I think that that message has tried to come from source several times, and it's been distorted with like toxic positivity of like, you are not your emotions, so therefore you shouldn't feel them. And you, there's a way where you're meant to ascend above them. Whereas for me, shadow work is more, it's not about ascending above them, right?
No, exactly.
They walk with us.
I go, yeah. I no, to be honest, I never saw it like that. I always saw it like feel them, but don't get stuck on them, because they are just, it's like food. You drink the coffee, but you are not the coffee.
Yes. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I love it. Yeah.
Drink the coffee, but you are not the coffee.
Right. There's a way, and see, and I think it's, what's so funny is I tell all my clients, and they never believe me. They don't want to stop and feel the emotion, right? Because they think that somehow stopping and feeling the emotion is being the emotion. And I tell them that, like, no, when you don't feel the emotion, you eat it, right? So it goes inside, and then you start to have like sleep problems, grinding your teeth, right? Like it could be stomach problems, right? So the point is
emotions need to pour somewhere, right?
Yes, right? Like you have to feel your emotions, and then they're so scared that if they feel it, they're going to be consumed by it.
They are scared of the fear. It's always like when we have fear of something, I will give you, when we have a panic attack, it's fear of a bunch of things that are on our heads. But when we go back and we hold our hands and we open our eyes and we look to the fear and to the problem in all forms and shapes, and you stay there for a second, it can feel very overwhelming, but it's so more realistic. Then you 90% of the times will realize that it's not so bad.
You can push, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's so funny that you use panic attack, because I always tell people, like, when an initial panic attack comes, oftentimes people are like, oh my God, they try to hurry up and stuff it back in, which makes the panic attack bigger, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's trying to come out, mm-hmm. right? But if you use mindfulness and you breathe through it and you let it escape, you let it come out to the front, you'll find that you'll get through your panic attack faster, quicker, right? But not in a way where like you're checking a box to get it done. It's because it's about the flow. I equate like emotions are like the ocean. There's tides, there's ebbs and flows.
About the ocean, because the picture I struggle this morning, I had a tough one. Not a tough one because I have medication if I need. And that is a superpower. That alone, mm-hmm. to know if you have an option.
Yeah.
But I always picture myself as a little girl in front of a sea who's pulling back the wave. You know, when the wave goes back and it's building up.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Africa. We used to go to a beach, was the only beach we had waves. And for a few times I was stuck on the wave. And it's a terrible feeling. Mm-hmm. And it feels like I learned to say to my anxiety, my fears, look at me on the eyes and tell me what is. So let's, I don't like to do this analogy because I love animals, but let's forget bullfighting because I don't think it's a good example. But before bullfighting, many years ago, men and women in Greece used to jump on the top of the bulls and so no hurting bulls, but
right.
that feeling of, in Portugal, you have 7 men who go in front to the bull and try to grab it. Obviously, then the bull was
right
before, but the simple fact that you go and you stand and you call it, that's a way of doing. It looks like I'm doing a beautiful analogy, but I'm totally against bullfighting today. I grew up with bullfighting, but it's the thing of looking to the bull in the eyes and say, ha ha, come here, come and get me. Because when, I don't know if I have a story, then I think it changed my life. In a certain time in my life, I'm not going to get in details, but in a certain time in my life, I was being blackmailed and it was killing me. And it was about some debts that I had, and I was being blackmailed. And one day I just decide to say to everyone that I had that debt, and the power of the blackmail disappeared.
Yes.
So
truth.
We are going so away of what is shadow work, but looking to our fear on the eyes and say, here you are not me, but you are part of me. I understand you. Thank you for being here, because fears are here to protect us.
Yes.
Right? If not, is a nice, I don't know if you know, do you know Paulo Coelho? Is who wrote The Alchemist, is a Brazilian. He have a small book named Maktub. Maktub in Arabic means meant to be. And one of that stories talk about Napoleon, like very young general, shaking of fear on the war, shaking. And some older soldiers making fun of the general, was much younger and shaking. And he say, if you had half of the fear than I have, you are not here anymore. Because brave are the ones who have fear, but they stay there and they go for it. It's not the ones who have no fear. No fear.
That's just dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So coming back to you, because I'm doing a rant about fears, and
no, that's all part of shadow work though. You really exposed a beautiful part of shadow work, because at the core of it, shadow work is your truth. And your truth is what, not honoring your truth is hiding your authentic self. And by hiding your authentic self from others is just performance. And that allows guilt and shame to come in. Yeah.
Hide your authentic self from, I want to steal that from you. Hiding your authentic self is just performance.
It's just performance. And I think that, I think we touch on performance at a very superficial, like surface level when we acknowledge like social media, but I think it's so much deeper than that, because I think that, especially like as mothers, right? We try to perform motherhood rather than experience it.
Oh my God. And
that's where the stress.
That is like, I took, without conscience, I took 1 year off motherhood. For 1 year, then I don't live, not one, almost 1 year, I don't live with my kids. The oldest one is 22. I did not live with him for quite some time. But the youngest one is 7. And that is the tough part. But I took that year off because it was that of me dying.
Yes.
I drained myself. I'm a mom since I'm 19. I'm 41, I have a twin. Yeah. I had no clue, and I always tell this story if people listen to my podcast, they are done with this. I did not know what to buy for myself when I went to the supermarket for the first time.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember to be on the aisle of shampoos and knowing that I was going to get on the grocery part and no idea what I did want to put on my fridge.
When I tell you, I literally just went through this whole situation where my 4 oldest are now adults. And then I have a 6-year-old who turns 7 tomorrow. And I had created an identity around a title so
Mom.
that I wasn't Ryen, I was mom. And I have been a mom. I got pregnant at 17. I had my first when I was 18. And then I had 3 subsequent kids in 4.5 years, right? So I was literally like boom, 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 boom. And then I was a single mom. So then I just had to sit all my adult children down and have this pivotal conversation with them about how I have to learn how to now at 41 be Ryen.
Oh, you're 41. We have the same age.
Yeah, well, see what it's saying. Yeah. So I told them, I was like, I have to learn how to be Ryen. And the problem with that is I don't even know where that begins. I don't actually know what my likes are because my likes before were structured around the fact that I had 4 little kids at home, right? So I couldn't say that I like to travel because I couldn't especially travel with the 4 little kids on my back. Okay, well, now they're gone. Do I like to travel? Absolutely. I actually thoroughly enjoy this and kind of live a very nomadic life and embrace it. And I love it. Right. So there's all
Me
these
too. I'm in Mexico.
right? Yeah, in Mexico. Yeah. So I just left Puerto Rico. I stopped in Chicago to visit my kids, dropped my 18-year-old off, and then to Mexico I came, right? So it's the same thing where it's like you pull back all these layers, like, oh, do I like going to listen to live music? I don't know. It was convenient to do when I had a sitter in Chicago when they were little kids. But is that something that I actually enjoy? So it's like peeling back all these layers of figuring out who we are as an authentic self. So right now I'm writing a 3-part series. The first book is called Finding Self. And then the second book is called Being Self. And the last book is called Temple of Self. And it literally is walking everyone through my journey. And I'm writing them all simultaneously because it really is a simultaneous thing, right? I'm walking you through my journey of figuring out who my authentic self is, then actively being her and trying to break the patterns that I created as a young adult that came with me from my mother, that came with me from my previous families, right? So now I'm actively trying to just be my authentic self while acknowledging and honoring any traumas that I might be carrying, right? And then Temple of Self is really just that embodiment of navigating the ebbs and the flows of life with spirituality, the marrying of the two through shadow work. So,
do you know what it helped me?
tell me.
It helped me writing love letters to myself.
Yes. Oh, it's a beautiful exercise, right? And it's so hard.
Yeah.
Right? I always, what's so funny is I tell people, if you feel a twinge, if you can't write yourself a love letter, when you feel internally a twinge, I always tell people do a bridge, right? Because when you've had the trauma where you don't see yourself as other people see you, then sometimes saying to yourself, like, you're beautiful, you're a goddess, you're intelligent, you're unstoppable, right? Some of these things you have to pull back. Like I have a client that was really heavy into like the work mode. So she couldn't say things like unstoppable because it's a very triggering word, right? Because all that tells you to do ultimately is deny your authentic self, right? Your feelings are saying, I need a break. But because I identify with being unstoppable, I have to push through.
Oh,
right?
I have been there.
Girl, haven't we all? It's a woman thing.
It's a woman, but it's a really not a woman thing.
Oh no, it's a human thing, 1000%.
Yeah, because
yeah,
because we become, it's a certain addiction. I'm going to say something that I never said. I am a survivor in recovery. So I survived. I became the best high-class elite swap team, you name it, survivor.
Yes. I have a survivor tattoo on the back of my neck. I get it.
I
identified
my
with
first
surviving.
My first tattoo was an S from surviving. Yeah. And something goes on between your 38, 40. and say, you know what? I'm quite of done with this addiction of losing all and building all, losing all and building all, losing all and building all.
Yes.
And I don't want. I want to thrive. I want to thrive, but you cannot do, because what I found, and it's funny that we have so many, is you will make it everything that is needed for the kids first.
Yes.
But then when the kids were not on my equation, not as my priority, they are all,
yeah,
I was, maybe I can just chill and relax because I don't need so much. But that was not okay for me as well, because I don't want to survive. Again, I'm going to, so learning about yourself is fundamental. Learning about self-love and enjoying self-love is fundamental so you can thrive. Because if not, you are going to be in survival mode. Worse, when you are used to be the mother, and this year I lost it all. I lost the DJ, I lost the mother, I lost the 400,000 followers on social media. I lost it all. I lost it all. But I always said, be scared of the people who lost all. Because now that I'm writing love letters to myself and I'm trying to finding who I am, I know I will become the person that I need to be, because my job and today what I do is I serve. I use EFT tapping. I help women to go grow and help other women. And that is my mission. And finally, I was having a conversation with my boyfriend yesterday, and I was remembering the quantity of years on the last couple of the last 8 years of my life. Then I did not had a thing. I was a DJ, but I had no passion. And now that I have it and I have it back, nobody is going to take that away from me. So thriving is I don't want to survive anymore. I want to thrive.
Yes, yes. And you can only thrive. Go ahead.
No. How was, like, coming from corporate in doing shadow work, for me, it's 180. How was for you to shift gears?
Oh my God, I fought it kicking and screaming. I think that's why my body had to break down, because had my body not broke down, I would have just kept denying it.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because stopping and feeling made me feel inadequate. Right. So there's a way where like I salute you and honoring that, hey, I need to take a break from motherhood, and releasing any type of like societal guilt and shame towards that, because when I'm good, they're good. Right. Like, and
maybe not automatic, but it was not on my, maybe it's a very selfish way. I don't care.
It's not.
My mom died when I was 10. So was my kids having a mom who's not there anymore, because that was my journey towards where I was going. And even after I decided and I was taking that break, it was worse, because it always gets worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
And deciding I'm not going back, I deeply felt that someone was ripping off my skin, my bones, and my heart out of my chest.
Yeah.
I used to wake up at time than they used to wake up for school with night horrors. But did need to be done for me. Was the first time that I put me, whatever that did means, because I'm still learning first. But women need to have these conversations.
Yes.
Because if not, we are drinking wine and smoking weed and taking medicine pills for the we are just talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I did.
For you, how shadow work comes into your life?
So it was really funny. My youngest daughter has a heart condition, and it's a severe heart condition. So she had to, by the time she was 3, they let me know ahead of time she was gonna have to have 4 heart surgeries. And I ran law firms as a living. So like I have a paralegal degree and a degree in business administration. So I got offered a position for the Federal Reserve. And that's like the I made it mom, right? Like the scan your retina to get in the building. Like I was like, oh snap, I'm a big girl now, right? And they told me they wanted to fly me out to New York to meet the AG. And at the time, there was a complication with my youngest daughter's surgery. So I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't make it. Like, I just had to rush her back to the hospital. We're going to be here for like a week or two. And then they replied, oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, we'll just fly you out for the day then. And I had to sit in that and be like, is this who I am? And is this what I want? What is the point of this? Right? Am I going to leave my kid in this hospital room for an entire day by herself? Because I'm a single mom. There's no spouse to sit with her, right? Scared and in pain with these nurses because I wanted to be mom, I made it. And did I even like the job? If I took the salary away, did I want it? Did I like it? Right? What was the point of it? And it was funny because I had to sit back and I talk about this in my book where I'm like, I hear Source asking me like, who are you, Ryen? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm a mother, I'm a friend, I'm a sister. And they were like, no, those are titles. Who are you? And I said, oh, okay, well, I'm funny, I'm smart. And they said, no, those are personality traits. Who are you? And I remember sliding off the bed, sitting on the floor and bawling my freaking eyes out and saying, I don't know who I am out loud. And I heard Source say, I can work with that. And I went, okay, then we're going to work with that. And I sent the email to the Federal Reserve saying, thank you for this opportunity, but I'm going to have to decline the position at this time due to personal reasons. And that was that. And every moment from there has been in the moment, right? Peeling back the layers of what I'm feeling. So like if I'm frustrated or overstimulated, right? There's ways where I started to realize that sometimes my frustration in a moment was just that I was overstimulated and I just needed to remove myself for a minute and decompress, right? Right? So when you're present, when you ground yourself and allow your emotions to flow, there's a way where you identify the ebbs and the flows in your shadow work, right? So I went through that whole journey. I had to go back home and I took all my kids during COVID and had to move back into my childhood home. And in that shadow work process, without triggering anyone, I uncovered some very ugly things about my stepfather. And then I was able to be in that space in the most gut-wrenching way and be like, this is awful and toxic. And I was taught to edify this and just be grateful that I had adults in my life. And I've been exploited and treated poorly as a child. I did ancestry.com and discovered that the man who was not good to me, who I thought was my dad my whole life, wasn't my dad. And that there was actually this other guy, and he was so profound in my shadow work because I came to him looking for rejection. So there's a way where I came to him and I said, hey, I quit my job. I'm currently sleeping on somebody's couch. I got 5 kids. They're all biracial. I literally was like, tick, tick, tick. I'm overweight. I'm this, and this. And he looked me in the face and he said, I'm so glad you're mine and that I found you. And I can't wait to meet my grandbabies. And I was just like, this is all I've ever wanted my entire life. Right? So there was this healing of like, I don't need to chase this anymore because that wasn't love. This was love. And I'm not saying that he was a perfect human. And I know that his parenting to my siblings, may not have been perfect. But in that moment, as an adult, he was able to come to me and say, I want to heal all the parts by telling you that I love you unconditionally. And I had never had that. It really, my journey was profound and unlocked a lot of the next level of like my psychic gifts. And I've really just been helping women kind of do the same thing and just be able to like grieve when you need to grieve and feel when you need to feel. I had a client that said to me, all they do is cry now working with you. And I was like, honey, you got 40 years of emotions pent up from family trauma to marital abuse. Let it out. And I said, and I promise you, you'll get on the other side of it and it will start to walk with you. But right now it's just in there. Just let it out. Cry when you need to cry as much as possible.
Oh.
So thank you for listening.
Thank you for being here. I don't know why I start these podcasts, but I always create great relations with people, collaborations. Some become my clients, other become my mentors, other, you name it. I just feel blessed and guided because I don't know how many people are going to listen to our conversation or see it, but if one, just one, who see and listen, that one is the most, and just for me and you,
Yeah.
Just for us.
Mm-hmm.
That just for us. If someone wants to work with you, how they find you?
Well, so there's a couple ways to find me. I'm on TikTok as Ryen de la Garza _Oracle. I'm also on Facebook as Ryen de la Garza. Or they can email me. Now, Ryen is spelled Ryen. So I have Irish mom, Latin, Latin father. So Ryen is Ryen, and then Day, so DE, La, LA, Garza at gmail.com. They can always email me as well. I am doing some healing groups. They're virtual and all are welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So if they want to reach out because they're interested in that, I can give them the days and the times for those and the prices.
I love this conversation with you. Can you leave a quote? Can you give us a quote, something that inspires you? Oh,
let's see. I have so many quotes that touch my heart. I would have to say that it's okay to be human. It's okay. It's okay to feel your emotions. It's okay to be human.
Why should people listen to this podcast, me and you, our podcast?
Because it's a safe space. It's a safe space for people's vulnerability and humanity.
Thank you so much. I am going to say bye to people. Listen to us. I'm going to give you a gift. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. I don't have a lot more to say. Live your dreams, make it happen. Dream Warriors podcast with me, Rita Egidio, Ryen de la Garza. I'm Portuguese. I should be able to say it well.